Welcome back to Full Court Femmes. This is getting close to the last time we get the opportunity to say this to you all in the 25-26 season, but we're very excited to be here today.
We are, and we are still in our hotel in New York City. We are still watching Big East basketball, and the Red Storm are heading into the Big East championship game tonight.
Woohoo! Final score from the semifinals. St. John's 78, Seton Hall 68.
It was another physical game, another second half push, but the Johnnies endured, and they're finding themselves just one away from this Big East tourney title championship.
All right, this game felt familiar, didn't it?
Mhm.
Seton Hall made it a grind early, slowed pace, and forced St. John's into half-court possessions.
Yeah, but the difference tonight was balance. It was maturity on the court. We talked about this yesterday during the game, watching Zuby and Bryce and Dylan Mitchell actually playing in a controlled way led 4 players to be in double figures yesterday.
Yes, Erin, let's start with Dylan Mitchell, who brought the energy again, attacking the glass and finishing around the rim.
And we have to talk about Joe Sansanin, who continues to give the Johnnies scoring bursts when the offense needs a spark.
But we can't forget about that inside duo, the ones we love, Bryce Hopkins and your guy, Zuby Ejiofor. They did exactly what we expected and need them to do and what they've done all season long.
Yeah, they're physical, steady, and efficient. When those two control the paint, St. John's becomes extremely difficult to beat.
Well, let's talk about that prediction because as we know, the night before, Annie was just 1 point off from a perfect score. Last night, she got the spread right, just not as close in terms of the pure numbers.
All right, Annie, you had 70-63 last night.
Yes, but the actual score was 78-68. I'll take it.
I would too if I were you. It was a win. And again, pretty close when we talk about what's going on.
Annie, you're starting to scare us with how close you're getting on these.
All right, now we've got to turn to the Big East Championship game. Number 13, St. John's, takes on number 6, UConn, in the final declaration of who the top of the pecking order is.
If you've watched this conference all year like we have, this matchup makes perfect sense, right? These two teams have battled for the top spot in the Big East all season.
And the season series is split at this point, which makes this championship game feel even bigger.
Even bigger. My God, I'm already getting butterflies, and we're just sitting here talking about the game. So as you all probably know, UConn advanced with a win over Georgetown in the semifinal last night.
And 2 players really drove that performance.
Mullins finished with 21 points, leading the Huskies offensively.
All right, that young man is a tall, lanky freshman dude. He's going to fill in. He's going to be incredible as a senior, but right now as a freshman, he is a weapon and somebody we have to keep an eye on because his shot is pretty. But he wasn't the only one who dominated last night. Silas Demery, girls, remember, we've said it wrong all season, so now we've got to get it right. Demery filled that stat sheet with 10 points and 9 rebounds.
He did. When Demery is active like that, yay me,
Yes.
UConn becomes very difficult to slow down.
Well, and these teams have played very different games this season, 2 extremely different and hard-charging games.
First meeting was February 6th. We remember St. John's won that one, 81-72.
That was the game where the Johnnies controlled tempo and finished really strong. Even with Demery scoring 18 points, St. John's kept the game under control.
Well, then the rematch was on February 25th. We don't want to talk it anymore. We just have to discuss it briefly because UConn flipped the script on that game.
No one wants to talk about that game.
No.
The Huskies won that one 72-40 in Hartford.
And Taris Reed led the way with 20 points, dominating the paint that night.
I mean, he didn't really show up in that first game. He didn't really show up last night, but he dominated and kept Zuby in control in that second game. And that game shows what happens when UConn really starts to get the physicality under their control. So what we need to do is not let them control. We need to contain the UConn trio. And that starts with making sure that Silas Demery and Mullins, as well as Taris Reed, do not get too comfortable in their offensive structure. Those 4 were at the center of both the UConn performances this season.
Demery is the engine. When he's comfortable attacking that lane and creating offense, UConn's whole system opens up.
Yes, and then there's Mullins. He gives them the perimeter scoring. If he gets clean looks early, UConn's offense spreads the floor.
Well, and then there's Reed. He's the interior force. He's also just a very big man. And in that February 25th game, he had 20 points, as you said, Annie. And when he established his position inside, it changes the entire defensive structure.
Right. So the first key is simple, right? Make all 3 work for everything. Not 0 points, right? But contested points. Key number 2, this one's important. We need to win the middle 10 minutes of the game.
Well, We saw last night what happens when we don't focus on those middle 10 minutes. We saw things slow down last night, and Seton Hall started to score a lot in those middle 10 minutes. Tonight, it's a championship game, and those usually swing in that middle stretch. Late first half into that early second half is when rotations tighten and momentum shifts.
Agreed. In the February 6th win, St. John's owned that stretch. In the February 25th loss, UConn dominated that stretch.
They dominated the whole game.
So whoever wins that 10-minute window tonight probably lifts that trophy. Key number 3, turn defense into offense.
All right. UConn's half-court defense is excellent. We know this, right? So St. John's needs to create points before their defense gets set.
Well, and that means steals. We need Jackson's quick hands, Sannon's quick hands tonight. We need deflections by Zuby and by Hopkins. And we need quick pushes into transition by Mitchell. Those easy points change the rhythm of a championship game. Key number 4, balanced scoring again.
Yes, the semifinal win over Seton Hall showed the formula. 4 players in double figures.
When St. John's gets scoring from multiple spots like Mitchell, Shannon, Hopkins, Ejiofor, the defense can't load up on one player.
Don't forget about Sellers. He's also a weapon as well. We just didn't see a lot of him last night.
We did not. All right. Key number 5, finish the last 4 minutes of the game.
All right. I usually don't like this one because the last 4 minutes is a lot of time. But the reality is this is when we see the stadium erupt. We see MSG get loud. We see fans get obnoxious. We see tempos flaring. And honestly, this is what it happens in a championship game. It comes down to the final possessions. So we've got to make our free throws. We have to have both offensive and defensive rebounds, and we have to have smart shot selection.
The team that stays calm in that moment wins this game.
And if this game is close, which it probably will be, that's where St. John's needs to execute.
So when you stack those keys together, containing Demery, Mullins, and Reed, controlling that middle stretch, and creating transition opportunities, the blueprint is actually pretty clear.
Well, you think it's clear, but I'm not sure everybody knows it yet. So we're sharing this with you, Rick Pitino, so that you get the opportunity to share it with the team. It's our blueprint. Neither of these teams is guessing anymore. They know exactly what to do to win this game tonight.
Yes, which means tonight isn't about surprises. It's about execution.
And championship games usually come down. They usually do come down to a few possessions in the final minute.
All right. It comes down to who rebounds, who protects the ball, and who makes that last shot.
So, Annie, Big East championship game, Madison Square Garden. What do you see?
I see that this one is going to be tight the entire night. These teams know each other way too well. Both defenses show up. Possessions matter. But I think St. John's finishes late just a little stronger. So I've got for the championship, St. John's 71, UConn 68.
From your lips to God's ears, Annie, let's go. That is a championship game right there, Caroline.
And another heart attack for me. But that's exactly how it should look.
So St. John's and UConn have battled each other all year for this top spot in the Big East.
Now they meet one last time with the conference championship on the line.
This is the best rivalry in the conference. That gets the biggest stage.
Yes, it does. And it's the best stage, too, because we'll be right there with them when they play it all out. And we'll be back tomorrow to share with you the outcome of this game in our last Full Court Femmes episode of the Big East season. We'll break down the championship and we'll wrap up the 2025-2026 season.
It's been fun, hasn't it?
It has.
It has.
Great.
All right.
Great.
You know the deal. No hype. All hoops.
Let's go, Johnnies!